So we're talking today just about folks, it's PCS season or moving season for the military community. And we have Ashley and Kristina in the Fort Bragg area. They're actually in the Sand Hills, which is Southern Pines, Pinehurst, Whispering Pines, that area near Fort Bragg. And then Susanna and I are in Colorado Springs near Fort Carson, and also several Air Force installations as well. So Susanna, why don't you introduce yourself, talk about what you do, the areas you serve, your military association, and maybe how long you've been working.
Yes, so we were originally a military family, and we retired 12 years ago. That's how quickly time goes. 12 years ago, we did 21 total. We were engineers, and at one point we were stationed in Fayetteville. Actually, my first 4 years of my military career. My husband's only active, but we're all in it, right? And it was an interesting experience. Very familiar with the PCS song and dance, so the moving season, and and Colorado has such a strong connection with Fayetteville because, we're exchanging military members back and forth. So, and I've been a real estate agent for 12 years and a broker owner for six years.
My name is Kristina Webster. We've been military affiliated since 2005. My husband is actually retiring now. He signed out Monday.
Fresh.
20 years, brand new retirees. Like you said, it's just come so fast. I never thought we'd be in this day. There were times when I never thought the day was gonna come. And then surprise, here it is. What are we doing now? I have been in real estate for 8 years. I got my license when my little boy was just born. I was looking for a career that could be flexible because, our husband's schedule is not flexible at all. And so I've been doing it for 8 years, and I've been broker in charge of Pineland Property now for a year, a little over a year. It's just been the most fantastic, amazing adventure I couldn't even have imagined. My husband and I did live in Colorado Springs for 3 years. We got to go to.
Oh wow!
He's in third group, and he went to 10th group to do his SWIC tour. So we did get to live in Colorado. We lived in Monument, so it was a little bit north of the Springs, but we really loved it. We enjoyed our time there. Colorado is really special. It just gets in your bones. You just once you've lived there for a little while, it's just a whole culture. We miss it, but we're here.
My turn. I'm Ashley Donovan. I'm a co-owner of Pineland Property Group that we established. It was May of last year. I'm working on my 7th year in real estate. I am not a realtor. I am a lender. I am also a loan originator with Coastline Mortgage Consultants. And real estate is an interesting topic for me because I fell in love with it on the backside, actually. So operations, marketing, training, my background is in human resources, and that was really able to be applied. Like Kristina said, when you have children, you look for a versatile job, and that was really a good fit for me at the time. And so I dug into transaction coordination and did that, and fell in love with the back office. So all of the things that most realtors despise, I love. Contract work.
That, doesn't it?
I don't want to show a house. I don't want to show the house, but I would love to be on the computer doing all of the analytics and all the back office things. So I am working on my 7th year in real estate. And I just became a lender 2 years ago. So lending is newer to me. Real estate is old hat for me. We have been stationed at Fort Bragg, which is where I met Sarah. We've been here since 2010. And we have PCS'd one time. We are those people who do not leave, and we will retire out of Fort Bragg. My husband is third group, and we've been here since 2010, only left once for a quick jaunt to Monterey, California, and came back. So this feels like home to me, and I've weathered the storm through lots of different markets, and it's a true gem of a community, and we love it.
Awesome. So I actually have been a military dependent my entire life. My dad was a 30-year Navy guy. And then my husband, we got married. He went to the military. He just passed 17 years. We lived in Bragg, in Pinehurst for 10 years before we moved here to Colorado Springs. We've been here since 2015. And then I've been working as Susanna's marketing director since 2018. So we're coming up on about 5 years. So also have lived in both areas. And I also work as, usually the frontline person to kind of have the initial conversations with people when they're thinking about moving here and have questions about neighborhoods and schools and just those initial conversations that people have when they're starting their research out. But I just like to make it as easy as possible for people because it can be overwhelming to move cross country, right? We all know how that feels. So yeah. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about what's happening in your neck of the woods? I know, Ashley, we kind of discussed, some similarities in both markets, but I'd love to hear about it.
Sure. I'll let Kristina start with the analytics.
So analytics, my favorite. Our market is insane. It's still very hot. Just pulling the numbers to do this discussion is shocking from when we moved here in 2013 back from Colorado. So our average, as of April 2023, our average price of house is at $475K, whereas 2022 it was $439. So it's jumped substantially. Our days on market last year were 16. It was bad year. We were running like crazy all over the place. As soon as somebody wanted to see something, we dropped everything to go show it because multiple times I was on a way to a showing already under contract. This year it's slowed down a little bit. We're at 42 days on market. So we have a little bit of breathing room, which we all appreciate as moms, especially. Our active listings, we are still very low. Our inventory is extremely low here. Right now we have 208 active listings. So that's houses, land, townhomes, commercial, everything. So this is Moore County. And then, looking at our sold to list price ratio, we're still at 99.6%. So we are, you're listing it, people are paying that, if not over. We're very much in a hot market still. And we're seeing that with especially the military price range. Those houses go quick. So if you have a buyer in that particular price range, you got to show them quick because there's going to be multiple offers. I just put in an offer today on multiple offers.
Yeah. And in our market, obviously it's much different in the price point, standpoint, but it's 400,000 to 500,000 is the sweet spot for military. That is, if you are between 4 and 5, that's where you get yourself in those multiple offer situations. Yeah. In our market. We do have analytics for Fayetteville if you want those. Or do we not print those?
I just pulled my county.
Oh, just sorry. Okay. We do work there. We're in both MLS systems, so we do work. We do work in both areas, and we have realtors that sprinkle throughout.
So I can say off the top of my head, their sweet spot is about 330. So they are a little bit lower than Moore County, but they are seeing multiple offers as well. The pandemic really just shot everybody up. When we purchased our house here in Moore County in Southern Pines, we were in the 2s, and we felt like that was a lot. Yeah. In 2013. I still kick myself for not purchasing in Colorado between 2009 and 2012. I will forever just kick myself.
Hindsight is 2020.
Yes. Yeah. We didn't know. So if you're thinking about purchasing, do it and hold it.
Yep. So in the Colorado Springs market, also looking more at the overall El Paso County market, we have actually a similar picture. So just to kind of paint a picture, April last year was the highest, the most difficult month that we had. So last year we had 561,000 as average sales price, and this year we have 530 average sales price. Now that's about 4.5–5% difference, and many people we're predicting, oh, there's going to be a crash. And I know that the East Coast is much hotter anyways, but I definitely expected more of a reduction in purchase price. But with the, lack of inventory, same picture, lack of inventory, and we still have buyers out there, it's just impossible. We have a little bit of a split market. So we do have houses that sit on the market, and we have houses that just go within a weekend. I would say we have like, a third to a half sitting. And then we have a third and then at least a half just flying off the shelves with multiple offers and appraisal gaps and escalation clauses. And we do have actually a lot of cash buyers that are coming in from California and Texas, because the interest rates are so high that there are a lot of people are just pulling from equity in their homes, from parents, family, friends, to just be able to be competitive. The homes will sell for sure. We have this month 38 days on market, which sounds actually ridiculous because I just lost a whole bunch of multiple offers. Gained some, but lost a whole bunch. And last year in comparison, we were at 12 this time.
Yeah, so we're pretty
neck and
similar.
neck. Yeah.
Yes. What is interesting, as I was doing some additional numbers, we have about the same churn and burn rate. Even though we're 30,000 less this year, we have about the same churn and burn rate. Last year, we had 1,900 new listings and we sold 2,600. This year, we have 1,500 new listings and we're selling 1,900. So difference of 500-600 is the same, just in a different range.
Yeah.
So we're still selling more than coming on the market, which is not going to help our inventory.
You guys are probably protected like we are protected. I do have a lot of investors, just from a lender lens, more so than I thought I was. The amount of cash out refinances that I've done in our area, even, substantial. And that's shocking to people given interest rates, but smart investors are tapping into their equity and buying houses in this market. And because they realize that interest rates will change, but the houses will never be as cheap as they are today. And people who understand that ideology are still actively buying. So we have a lot of that here too.
Yeah, I do not think, and I did not think that all the hype and the fear mongering that was happening over the last 12 months did anybody a favor. A lot of buyers are like, oh my gosh, I'll just wait until the market crashes. And how'd that work out?
It's not. We have to educate our buyers. And when you pull these numbers, there's no denying it that we're in a hot market still. It's not crashing.
Yeah, it's not crashing.
It might crash if they close Fort Bragg, then we'll all be crying. But it's not happening.
Very stable out here. We've told them, it's funny, we have one buyer that we've had to coach and work with over the last 2 years, and everything we've said has held true longer. Well, not everybody, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
specific buyers.
And we're seeing something similar for some of the same reasons. So when you're going down south towards Pueblo, they have a different pricing structure than we have here, so that you can get more for your money. It's a little bit more affordable and a little less competitive. And considering that Fort Carson is at the south end of Colorado Springs, that still works for a lot of people, and they just zip up I-25, for 25 minutes, which is a normal commute anyways, regardless of where you live. And, and so we see a lot of people really choosing that route, and we serve that as well. But we also see, of course, we're not all military, but we have a lot of people that are looking up to Woodland Park and the backcountry for second homes or just to get away. Just don't want to be in the hustle and bustle. So we're serving that as well. And even up there, they also just don't have enough inventory. So it's gotten a little better compared to last year, but it's not like the market that we expected, that I expected last year.
So Kristina and Ashley, you guys kind of touched on Fayetteville. I think a lot of folks still, I mean, when in 2006, when I moved to, Moore County, it was really rare to be living on that. Like there weren't a ton of military folks over there. And now I feel like it's totally changed and shifted even since I've moved away. But can you guys talk a little bit about some of the advantages of moving to Moore County versus Fayetteville and what the differences are?
Yeah, so it's been an interesting dynamic over the last, if you look at it from a 5-year lens, the last 5 years, we've kind of been predominantly people wanted to live in Moore County because you get a lot of bang for your buck, and you wanted to be in this area just because of the amenities that the county has. It has community activities for kids. It's that small town charm that everyone's looking for, but still adjacent to larger cities. So everyone loved this area. And they still do. The difference over the last 2 years is because of the price points and because of the Hunger Games style selling tactics we had to revert to last year.
It's a good one.
People didn't have the ability to purchase here. So it either scared buyers away or it pushed them out into a different market because not everybody had the influx of cash where you just send over that blank offer to purchase and say, fill it out, whatever you want, we'll give you. That was the way you got a house in Moore County a year ago. Now it's slowed down a lot, so we're seeing people come back. But because of that shift, we've seen a lot of areas start to develop and grow and build up that otherwise were rural and didn't have a lot to offer buyers. So now we have Rayford, we have Spring Lake, we have Carthage, lots of area in Hope counties are big. They're popping up neighborhoods all over the place. And so it's really not as segmented as it was before. Now it's more, every market is good. It's just what market's best for the buyer. The perks of Moore County, and then I'll turn it over to Kristina, but the perks of Moore County, I find appreciation. So from an investment standpoint, Moore County is still very stable. It has golf and it has Fort Bragg. So it has all of the insulation that you need to put your money into an investment and be able to pull it out at any point. We appreciate 3 to 4% year over year since I've lived here since 2010. So we continuously grow. We're pretty insulated and protected from volatility in the market, and that makes this area very desirable because it's a safe bet.
I would 100% agree. When we first moved here, like I said, house prices were much lower, but the market has been friendly to us. My husband and I, we own multiple investment properties in the area. We always have renters in there because we know the military is going to be here whether we're here or not. They're always coming through. Somebody's moving in, somebody's moving out. People need places to live, and Moore County has always been a place that soldiers like to bring their families because they know they're safe here. They feel safe here. They have a community here, and they can deploy and know that their spouses and children are happy and thriving. My in-laws moved here from California about 5 years ago, and they had never seen a place like Pinehurst. They live in Pinehurst. It's a resort town, and you get to look at it every day. It's like the quintessential Hallmark movie town. Those Christmas movies that you watch, that's Pinehurst.
That's you.
To them. Yes, they love it, and people who come to visit can't believe that this is, we get to live this every day.
It's a military town.
Military town.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have PCS from Pinehurst. I lived in Pinehurst and moved to Monterey and then came back to Whispering Pines. Everyone's like, that was great. How was that? You didn't go to Kansas? You didn't stop? My 2 destinations were picturesque at best. So it's a desirable area for people who aren't in military, but we're just lucky that we get to call it home.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you guys have, you kind of touched on the neighborhoods and the different areas that people are kind of looking at, especially as things have kind of grown out geographically. Are there ones that are more popular than others right now, or is everything just kind of dependent on the buyer?
It really depends. It really depends on what the buyer is looking for. Do you want a house with a little bit of land? You're going to want to look in Carthage area or the county of Southern Pines. We have over a half an acre where I live. If you want the cookie cutter neighborhood with sidewalks, you're going to look in Whispering Pines. Aberdeen has neighborhoods like that. It just really depends on what the buyer is looking for. Do you want to be near trails because you're a trail runner and you want to be outside? closer to Whispering Pines, we have the reservoir there that you can easily pop in and run over 2 mile loop around the reservoir. So it just really depends on what the buyer is looking for.
And I think it's buyer specific, it's budget specific. You know, I feel like we all sort of married the same man. They're looking for the exact same things. So
I don't want
a lot
any
of our
neighbors.
buyers,
I don't want to see
They need a
them.
garage. They need a little
they
lane.
would like a 3-car garage, the third car is for the gym, you know, the same buyer. So a lot of our buyers are very similar. And so we understand that market. We've lived that market. We married that market.
Yeah.
But we do have a diversified portfolio here, because we do also have the investor, we have the retired golfer, we have these people who are looking for different things, and people who just want to, you know, to put roots here. So I think it used to be probably a little bit more neighborhood specific, but now we have just widened that horizon. So there was some good that came out of it. And a lot of that is diversifying the area to support different buyers based on what they're looking for. So it's not one size fits all anymore. And we've been blessed enough to have a market who kind of accommodated that influx of versatility.
Awesome. What about schools? That's always like neighborhood schools. Those are usually, and safety, which Kristina touched on. Those are usually kind of the top questions that we get for people moving to Colorado Springs.
So Moore County has a plethora of school options. We have a ton of public schools. We have Montessori school. We have private schools, Christian, non-denominational, Catholics, private schools. We have charter school. So it really depends on what your child needs from that school. Our public schools, we have 3 brand new elementary schools, which are stunning. It's amazing what they've done with the public schools. We have multiple high school public schools here. So it's really based on what you need, your child needs, where you feel comfortable. But Moore County does offer a vast variety of schools.
And they've kept up with the growing. I mean, we grew really fast. And I do believe that we probably need a little bit of a price hike. So some of this I felt was warranted. I mean, people were coming and felt like it was monopoly money to buy in Pinehurst, because our property values were, you know, appreciating, but our price points were lower. So I feel like this reconciled some of that. I do think from a school perspective, we do have versatility. We offer a lot, and the community did a great job of building what we needed. So when we were growing, they were growing too. And so we have larger schools that can support all of the military families, because we outbreed a lot. We do a lot. We have a lot of children. We don't just have one. We usually have 3 or 4. So we have a lot of children, and we needed bigger schools. And so there is an influx of schools that were built even since you left, Sarah. And it's been nice to see the growth there and to see us accommodate. But it is diversified in that nature. And our resources, the county gives us a school searcher, so you can go in, put your address of where you're looking, and figure out where you would, you know, be aligned in zone for based on where you're looking, which is super helpful from a realtor perspective. We don't have to resort to GIS anymore. We can actually use the county's resource.
And I always suggest to my buyers, just talk to people that have lived here, your friends. What are your children into? Do they like, you know, plays and arts? Do they like STEM? Do they need more helpful resources because they have an IEP? Just talk to your community, see who has any advice. But we do have just a plethora of schools to choose from.
So Susanna, can you talk about, you know, the most popular neighborhoods here in Colorado Springs, especially for folks moving PCSing with the military?
Yes. So I think it has very much to do with where you're stationed. You know, is it Air Force Academy? Is it Fort Carson or Peterson? And they're all in different directions. So it's not like they're clumped together. So if you are stationed at the Air Force Academy, you're looking at Rock Rimmon, Monument, you know, and then maybe the Northgate area. You know, if you are stationed more east side, so Schriever and Peterson Space Force Base now, and you are looking more at, you know, the whole corridor of, you know, East Corridor along Mark Scheffel and Power. So we have Springs Ranch, we have Banning Lewis, which is huge. And we have, you know, and then east, even further east, very popular is Falcon and Peyton. That everything is starting to grow together. Now, if you're stationed in Fort Carson on the east side, you have Fountain Valley consisting of Whitefield, Security, and Fountain. And those are just super popular because you get a lot of bang for your buck, and you have, really close access to Post. On the west side of Fort Carson is the famous Broadmoor and Shine Mountain. The prices are higher over there. They have the famous D12 Shine Mountain School District, which is a super small school district compared to the rest of the city. But that is popular, that south end there for Fort Carson. Overall travel time, pretty much no matter where you live, unless you're really on extreme sides compared to where you're stationed, I don't think we're really too much more than 30 minutes. It can be, but I think 30 minutes is probably average.
So schools here in Colorado Springs can be pretty overwhelming. I know I was when we moved here because there's multiple school districts in Colorado Springs. District 12 down in Cheyenne Mountain that Susanna mentioned, Academy District 20 in the Briargate, Northgate, Rockrimmon sometimes area, and Lewis Palmer District 38 are typically in the top 10 for the state. So those tend to be the most popular school districts, kind of sought after just because of their rankings and whatnot. But the complicated thing about Colorado is we're a choice state. So just because you buy a house that's districted for a certain elementary school in a certain district, you can theoretically push your kid into different schools in another district and another school within your district. And so all of our schools are competing for enrollment, which means even at the elementary school level, there's a lot of specialties. There can be STEAM and STEM and foreign language immersion. There's a Spanish foreign language immersion elementary school. So there's all these specialties. So that was really overwhelming for me moving here with a second grader and a kindergartner and pregnant with my third, because it's hard to figure out like what's what's their specialty going to be when they're 7.
Too many choices. It's just Scott potty trained.
Yeah. So it can be really overwhelming. But again, it's great to talk to people who have kids in the district. And what I recommend, the choice window usually starts in January for all of the districts. And that's when things kind of get shuffled. You apply to different schools or districts. And all the schools host nights, and you can get a really good feel for a school just by going to those informational nights, taking a tour. And what I just tell people and advise people is find what's good for your kid and your family as a whole. Because I wasn't just making that decision for my second grader, I was making a decision for my kindergartner about what would be best for us as a family and what kind of reflects like our focus. And we also have the charter schools. We have some private schools as well. So that can be really overwhelming for folks. Now those choice windows usually close around April, depending on the district. And then depending on space, it can still happen outside of that window, but it's really dependent on space. And some of them have such a high demand that it ends up being like a lottery system because it's such a popular school. The one thing to keep in mind is with that choicing, you're not guaranteed busing. So let's say your kid's going to school across town and you choice them in there, you're not guaranteed transportation. So you have to figure that out sometimes on your own. So that's something always to think about. Another really important aspect is depending on the district, you're guaranteed, let's say you buy a house in District 20, you're guaranteed a spot in a school in that district, but you're not necessarily guaranteed a spot in your assigned school if they're full for the grade level you need. So no joke, when I was moving here, my husband was out looking at houses. He would, say like, do you want to look at this house? You want me to go look at this house? And I would call the district office and see if they had, space available and the grades we needed at the school assigned to that house. So that's one thing to keep in mind.
Stressful.
Yeah.
That's very stressful.
Yeah.
No question.
And then, school district 12, Shine Mountain doesn't even have bus service. So if you have a high schooler, middle schooler, and an elementary schooler, it gets difficult at times with the driving. So
yeah. Okay. So can you guys talk to us a little bit about like what it's like for people moving to Moore County, what it's like working with Pineland Property Group?
Yeah, absolutely. It's my favorite thing to talk about. No, absolutely. We've been in real estate. Most of our agents have been in real estate for 2+ years. So we are a vetted real estate firm, although the firm itself is newer, the agents are not. We are predominantly military spouses. So when we say we understand what a PCS consists of, we really do understand that. We have, she's been to a couple installations. We have people that just hired on from 5th group. We have mostly 3rd group, but we do have, an influx of military spouses. And the value that brings is they are hardworking, they are reliable, dependable, and they really do understand what it means to PCS and to buy virtually. You have to have that certain je ne sais quoi when it comes to showing virtually. You have to have attention to detail. You have to have a trustworthy person, because you are truly buying. I mean, I've purchased 2 homes now completely sight unseen. I was married before I saw them. So it was one of those things where if you don't have someone taking care of you on the backside, like Susanna said, you can really get yourself into a situation where you bought the wrong house. Or you made a bad decision. You bought in the wrong area. So having someone who understands the market, understands the area, understands what it takes to show somebody the surround and the house virtually is our bread and butter. We work with a wide range of buyers and sellers. So it's not just military. We do have an influx of investors and just normal people coming from Ohio like me, trying to buy in Pinehurst.
And family members too.
A lot of grandmas coming to be with their babies.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when Ashley moved back here, guess who she called to go walk her house to make sure it was good? Me. Because especially being a female, a woman, a mother, we're looking at certain things in the house for our children and our families. And is it going to be conducive to our lifestyle, what we're looking for? How's the backyard? Is there a fence? What's the carpet look like?
I asked a lot of questions.
Is there how big is their bathtub to bathe my babies? So I think that we nail that every time. We've done it. We've done it multiple times. We've done it for people. We've done it for ourselves, for our friends.
And we've built this firm based on the people we bring in. So we're a small firm. We hire once a year, and we do that strategically because the people we bring on have to fit the mold of the company. So we're not looking for just any run-of-the-mill agent. The people that come in, just like our partners, are vetted, are seasoned agents who are going to carry our clients from start to finish through the process seamlessly. And that's what we require in our agents. That's what we require in our partners. And that's what the firm was, built on.
Awesome. So how can people find you? We can put your contact information in the description too, but on Broad Street.
On Broad Street. Yeah. So our office is downtown Southern Pines. It's a cute little office right next to the Beltry in Southern Pines. So if they're local, they can find us. They can romp on in. That's why we had to lock the door. So just come on in. So you can find us on there. And then we have a really big Instagram and Facebook social media presence. We do a lot on social media. It is it's a great tool for us to reach military,
What's your
buyers
handle?
and sellers.
Spill the beans. What's your handle?
Oh, Pineland Property Group. Super original.
No, that's good, but want to mention it.
Yes, you got to spell the handle. So Pineland Property Group is our handle on both platforms, all platforms, and that's where people can find us.
And guiding our buyers and sellers from beginning to end, and be very diligent and detail oriented when it comes to that, and communicative. That's what's really important to us. When we started out at the beginning of the pandemic to sell houses sight unseen, it was a surprise. And I want to say that there was a learning curve, but that learning curve was more technical than anything else.
Yeah.
But we've actually done it before. We've always dealt with people that were out of town, and you would just communicate that way and show houses. And you're absolutely correct. The detail, how is the flooring? Will you have to replace the carpet, immediately? Okay. And then many times I'm like, ooh, this smells in here.
Yeah. You can't, you can't see smell.
Yes. And you have to mention that. Or, okay, so what do the neighbors look like? I mean, those are things that I look for as well. Okay. So, these look real, these guys, grass is trimmed and everything's well taken care of. And there are a lot of details that I think just need to happen, especially with video and with PCSing. I don't know how many people you have coming from overseas. Right now I'm working with,
A lot.
incidentally, 3 from England. You know, never worked with anybody from England before. This year's the England year.
The
Just
time
a-
difference too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the time
which is-
difference. We have a lot of Germany.
Oh, yeah. Well, Stuttgart probably, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I grew up just a little bit north of Stuttgart, and went to school in Stuttgart as well. But yeah, so we're very detail oriented. We have our guides. We want to have people be very knowledgeable, and that's what we start them out with a base knowledge, you know, of our guides that they can download, whether it's just geographical here in the area and or the process of the, you know, home buying and selling as well. So all that is available, and we just want to make sure that people have a full picture. Now, some just choose, you know, to really depend more on me and have the desire to really personally connect with me more than others, and that's totally fine. I'm available. I want to be available. I love real estate, and the experience that I had with my very first house, incidentally in Fayetteville, was just not what I want for my buyers. And that's what actually led me to get into the industry and just change things. If they don't want to appeal, that's fine, but I just want them to know that we're here and we don't just end at closing.
Absolutely. Yep. Repeat clients are our favorite clients. We like the ones that buy and sell with us through the life of, you know, their journey at Fort Bragg.
Mhm.
Exactly.
All right. That's all I have. Do you guys have anything?
I don't think so. And I got 6 minutes. I got 7% on this battery life.
Yeah, I was just about to say, how's your battery doing?
Yeah.
Not great. Not great. She was fully charged, not when we started, but yeah.
Yeah, see, I can't even depend on my battery anymore.
And our website with all of our resources and information is yourcoloradospringshouse.com.
Thank you. All right, very cool. Okay.
All right. Thanks so much, you guys.
Thank
Thanks
you
for having us.
for
Thanks for
joining
having
us.
us.
This is awesome. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.